Hello, welcome to the land of Yak. My name is Laurel. Welcome back to the schoolroom and my second episode in our library tour series. Okay, I will link the first episode down below where I went over a bunch of our science books and one of my favorite early reader sets that I read to the kids. Today I pulled some stuff. I have a little section, things about phonics and spelling and stuff like that I kind of keep all together in some like useful tools. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I own a set of Robinson Curriculum phonogram cards. So it has a phonogram on the front and then example words on the back so you can see how it's pronounced. So O-U-R, it says and courtesy and hour and flower. So I bought a set of these from the Robinson Curriculum. I'll link everything I show you today down below. I feel like I don't use these as much right now, but I've used them a lot at different stages of reading and learning phonics. So I'm going to keep them because I've got a kindergartner, so I'm sure I'll be using these some more again soon. Similar to that, I also have this larger set that is basically the same thing, but I don't think it's as many. But they're larger and it has both the upper and lower case, like for the individual letters, which the Robinson set only had the lowercase. So I like this one, and this one is from Mott Media, and it has on the back sample words, and it refers to a wall chart and a rule or like pages in the ABCs and all their tricks, which I'll show you that book in a second. But so this kind of goes with the book that I have. That is this book right here. So this is the ABCs and all their tricks by Margaret Bishop, the complete reference book of phonics and spelling. I wouldn't say I've never like sat down and like read it cover to cover, but what I've done is like as I was teaching different phonograms, and how do I know what phonograms to teach? Since I use the McGuffey readers, I would be pulling new phonograms to review them when they came up in the reading, and then I would usually reference this. I think we're to a point, again with my older two boys, I haven't had to do that in a while, but I'll be pulling these back out here shortly as soon as Bo is into his McGuffey readers. He's only 5, kindergarten. Staying on a spelling track, so I have my own spelling program, and I actually have printed versions you can get on Amazon. This is they go through levels 1 through 6, and I know I've talked about these a lot before, but I like, because I really wanted, right now we're actually using level 2 and level 6 with my older two boys, but I'm using just my printed, my Etsy version, just the printables. But I went ahead and ordered my own set from the Amazon just because I wanted them. But I think I'm just gonna save that last set probably for Bo and have him just use the actual like printed out copies at the end since he's my last kid. But I made them rainbow colored on the spine, so they look all cute on my shelf. So I have all my workbooks up there, and I can always grab them and look at them or refer to them if I need to. And then I also have my spelling boot camp on the shelf. So I have my teacher and notebook, and this has all. Well, we do spelling boot camp once a year, and I think I made a video about it. I'll find it. I'll link it in the description box if you want to know more about that. I keep that, and then this is just a blank student notebook. This is like what I would print out for each kid that's going through the boot camp with me. And I also have a splendid spelling on my shelf from Sherry Hayes over at Mom Delights, and I used this for my kids' independent practice. This one's, I think this is Williams, but I think we use this doing independent practice during our boot camp time. So I just have them there together on the shelf, and I just have a few things. How to teach English spelling, including spelling rules, 151 spelling lists. And then I have the Spell to Write and Read and the Wise Guys. And these I used, these 3 books, like these, I don't, like the kids don't use these. Like these were just things that I referred to and learned from when I was making my own spelling program. I couldn't quite find a spelling program I liked, so I just made my own, and this is things that I was going through while I was going through that process. Also on that shelf, I have my bookmarks. So I have my vocabulary bookmarks. Can you see this? It's hard to see with the light. But these, I just made these for, and I've shared these before. I think I have the first, I might be up to the first 50 that I've books on the RC list that I have made bookmarks with all of the vocabulary words and definitions on them, so that the kids can just, when they find them in the reading, they can easily look at it on their bookmark, and they can always just read this before they start their reading time. And I think that really helps them with if I give them a vocab test on it at the end of the book. And then I also have my language arts bookmarks that I make. And these are things I use with the kids, especially like the grammar check-in, the comprehension check-in ones. I use these to know like what concepts to be looking for in the book, like what should I like point out to them next. We're going through the McGuffey readers. And then I have like a spelling one, literary analysis one. This is stuff that is good for them to know. And I like to, if we are going over things like this in a book, then I would like give them this bookmark to look out for that stuff, like while they were reading along. Staying on that kind of English language arts track, I'm gonna hop over to the next shelf. So let me grab you a few more things. Okay, I had one more thing I probably should have had on that side. I have the Uncovering the Logic of English. I like this book. I've recommended it before. Again, not one that the kids use, but one that I use, or I've read this to educate myself. Let's talk a little bit about grammar. So I have an Usborne First Illustrated Grammar and Punctuation. Looks like this. Oops, lost my bookmark. It's bookmarked because I'm using this with William right now. So William is between 2nd and 3rd grade this summer, and I use this in tandem with his copy work and our copy work grammar like complement. I'll link it for you down below. It's just some printables, but they help him and help me help him, like guide him in studying his grammar through his copy work. And if we come across something new, if we need to review something, right now I'm using this book to do that. So like conjunctions. I recently started having him look for conjunctions in his copy work, and we reviewed what it meant here. We just went over this together, and I actually have this over. It would be here with my grammar books, but it's over in his shelf where all his stuff is, so that he can grab it out when he does his stuff. But so they talk about nouns and vowels and consonants, more about nouns, compound nouns, plural nouns, nouns that don't change when they're plural, like sheep and sheep, deer and deer, fish and fish, singular nouns, like these nouns are always, there is no singular, like clothes, jeans, sunglasses, right? They always sound plural, even when they're just one pair of sunglasses, right? Like pair, but it's with one thing. Anyways, I don't expect him to know all those names, but we read about them so he can see them in their different forms, so he can try to recognize them in his copy work. And when I ask him for one, there's some exercises that we do. I might say, give me a noun, or give me an adjective, or give me a plural noun, so he has some practice with what that is and he knows what we're talking about. I think it's good. Something about grammar and like the categorizing of things and the learning how to differentiate and like think through. I know like he may be speaking and using the words correctly, but I just feel like it's like a mental exercise that it will, I think, behoove him to have practiced that more precise thinking and identifying things through grammar. I think that's a skill you could apply to other things. And okay, it goes over word families, talks about sentences, clauses, phrases, noun phrases, adverbs, punctuation, right? Okay, so I have, anyways, this is the one we're using right now. I also have, there's like the next level up, maybe this is for a slightly older kid, the Usborne Illustrated Grammar and Punctuation. And it says with quizzes to test your knowledge. So I originally bought this book, but I actually thought it was a little too much for him, so I went and got this one. So that's how I ended up with like these two things. But this is a nice book, and it's going to tell them the difference between there, and there, you know, lots of stuff. And you could just read through this with them. Just right now, I just like to use it with copywork. And we may, if we get through this book next year, we may move into this book, because I don't think our next grammar book is Harvey's Elementary Grammar. And I'm thinking this is more like a 5th grade-ish type book. I mean, this probably actually could be 2. This might be 5th or 6th grade here. The language in here is definitely more sophisticated. This is going to be easier to understand for younger, for middle elementary. This is definitely, I would even say, the way that they speak in here is like maybe 6th or 7th grade. And then I have Harvey's Revised English Grammar. So this is like, I think, a high school level. The definitions at the beginning are word, language, grammar, English grammar, orthography, etymology, syntax, prosody. They're going to talk about pretty precise pronunciation. A lot of this they have gone over. So it's almost like, even though, so like all of these resources, right? All these grammar books, they basically go over the same things, but they're kind of going like up, you know, in difficulty and just like the sophistication of the language they use. And so it's kind of like that spiral approach, you know, like they're hitting kind of on the same things, but they're leveling up with it. So these are our grammar books that I intend on using for instruction. And then I do have the answer keys to those Harvey's books here. So that makes it easy for me to correct their work, for them to correct it themselves. And I do have Gentle Grammar. So Gentle Grammar, I feel like we kind of stopped using it because it seemed like it was, I still like it and stuff, and it still could totally be used. It's just that it doesn't really do a lot of teaching for you. So I believe, yeah, this is an adaptation of New Language Exercises for Primary Schools by C.C. Long. So it's kind of like the deal like with McGuffey's too, and maybe even Harvey's, but I think Harvey's gives you more information. But some of these books, like, they don't give, they're the exercises, but they're not the instruction, because they were intended to be used by professional teachers. And so it was expected that the teachers, I think, were going to be teaching the material, and then, you know, these are just the exercises that they would do. So it's not quite as hand-holding as, like, you have to be more involved with it anyways. So I don't know. I still like it. I still like them, and I still have the Gentle Grammars. I just kind of stopped using it for the time being. I'm not saying I won't use it again, but I just started doing other things, because if I was going to have to teach it, the material, if I was going to have to teach the grammar, then I wanted to do it in a way that was a little bit easier for me, that wasn't like a whole other resource. So I do think I think I'll probably end up using them again. I think you could use something like this, like with something like this, you know, as like your reference book, and then this is your activities. I just hadn't like sat down to like marry them up, like what pages to go over, and then like what exercise to do. Do you know what I mean? So I'd kind of just stopped because I didn't have time to like really do that. Yeah, so I do like these. I don't know. I'll tell you, if you'll see me, I'm sure you'll see in the planning videos if I end up putting my Gentle Grammar back in. I like it. I want to use it, but sometimes I just feel like I don't have time to do a whole separate thing, which is why I've been preferring just to use my copy work. You have to practice grammar or just like identify the grammar. So I may just add more exercises to with the copy work instead of having them do like a whole other book. I'll keep you updated on what I decide to do about that. Okay, so then I have my daily grams. This is a grade 7. I think this is the student workbook. This is grade 8, but this was the teacher edition. I don't know why. I think I didn't realize that you needed both. So like somehow ended up with one of each. Yeah, I would definitely, after looking at these, I would get the teacher edition to do these with your kids. And because you actually need to teach them the little grammar lesson. Like it's very short, like 10 minutes, but so I do recommend getting the teacher editions with the student workbook. Okay, the last thing I'm going to show you today is, I haven't used this yet, but I got this typing 1, 2, and 3 from the Good and the Beautiful. And so my oldest is going into 7th grade. So sometime soon I'm going to do the typing course for him. And it's just, I think he just needs like my laptop and he just uses this. And I think I've showed it before. Shows them how to like put their hands, tells them, you know, what to type. So lesson 1, so they're A, S, D, F, H, H, F, D, S, A, or a space. I think we'll just put a space in there. That's lesson 1. That's easy enough, right? And then the next day, the next lesson is this one. So they're just short, and then you like check their work. So that's up there. There's we're still kind of in the language arts, writing kind of section of the library. Just because this video is going to get long, I think I will stop there. So I've showed you guys some grammar and some spelling and some typing stuff today. I've got lots more to show you. Okay, I'll talk to you later.